Lead us with that.
Heavenly Father, Lord God, we thank you for tonight. Again, we thank you as always for the opportunity to come here and Lord, to conduct the business of our city. Father, I thank you for our mayor and board and the wisdom and discernment you've given them. Lord, we ask tonight, Lord, that you just use them and you guide them, Lord, to make best decisions for our city. Lord, we thank you how you watched over and protected our city in such different times than we've ever faced before. And Lord, we just continue to turn to you and look to you for guidance. And Lord, I pray that you just bless them. Lord, we pray for our citizens. We pray for all those who are here in attendance tonight. Lord, just pray that the best decisions, Lord, will be made here. And Lord, that you would be glorified. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I want to welcome everyone. We have a good crowd tonight. It's been kind of lonely at the meetings lately with all this remote operation, so it's kind of we're not used to having everybody back in person with us. So I appreciate all of y'all being here tonight. Just to kind of let you know, we're going to go through the city business. I'm going to have under my mayor's report, I'll have some updates, some very valuable information that I think you're here to hear. And then also we will have a citizens agenda. If you want to speak, you will have the opportunity to speak. Just due to time constraints, we do ask that we limit that to 3 minutes per person. But I just want you to know you will have a chance to speak if you'd like to. So, but before we get to that, we're going to go ahead with city business. And first, we need to approve the minutes for the April 21st, 2020 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 21st, 2020 with any additions, deletions, or corrections.
Okay. We had a motion by Alderman Gallagher first, and I'll take Alderman Paynes as a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hicks.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Okay, can I open the door back on?
Alderman Flores.
Yeah, maybe I can open it and it's back here.
Okay. The motion carries. Thank you. All right,
One
Nick.
more thing, Mayor. Can Andrew get a little close to the microphone or within, I'm not sure if that's possible or not. I can barely hear her.
Yeah.
I'll adjust it.
Okay. She'll adjust it. We're trying to practice what we preach here in social distance, but we can definitely adjust the mic, so we'll be better. Tell me if it's not the next time, okay? Okay, next on the agenda is a continuing disclosure submission. City Attorney, Mr. Nick Manley.
Yeah, you may recall we previously authorized the filing of the continuing disclosure. This will just acknowledge the disclosure in our minutes, part of the Securities Exchange Commission for the previous bond issuance and file with IRMA. So it's not just authorization to accept the submission that's set forth in the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, Andrew, please. Speak if you're loud.
I mean, it's just. Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Chris, can you help us get Alderman Flores back on?
Yes, sir, I'm trying to get him in now.
Okay. Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is the employee handbook amendment. Mr. Chris Wilson.
Mayor and Board, this is just a clarification in the handbook which will allow when our employees have to take medical leave under COVID-19 pre-approved, it will not take away their ability to earn their 4 hours of medical leave while they're out. The handbook already allowed for those types of leave, but given the situation, we want to make sure we codify it as prior departmental approval.
Is there a motion to approve that amendment?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the amendment as presented. Second.
All right, I have a motion from Alderman Payne, second from Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the donation docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the donation docket as presented. Second.
Who made the second? I'm sorry.
Alderman Kelly.
We got a motion from Alderman Brooks, second from Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
What is this for exactly?
We just had 2 items donated to us. Andrew, would you tell them exactly what that is?
Yes, Nick suggested that we start doing a donation docket. The police department is accepting a donation as well as public works. So for now on, those will be listed on the docket.
It's a donation to us, not from us.
Okay, I understand. I was confused, sorry.
No problem. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is we're going to proclaim Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and I'm going to read the proclamation to you. Try to do it without glasses. 51st Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 3rd through May 9, 2020. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore I, Darren Musselwhite, Mayor of the City of Southaven, do recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9, 2020 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to to our professional municipal clerk, Andrea Mullen, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Thank you, Andrea. We appreciate you. Okay, next on the agenda is a resolution to surplus property from the utilities department.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Hoots,
Yes.
Alderman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher,
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler,
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Planning Director, Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application is actually from the Bank Acres Section D Homeowners Association. If you'll remember, we discussed a variance procedure we were going to take the homeowners through to grant them a variance to the width and the design of Banks Cove East, which is going to be on the north side of Nell Road, just off of Banks Road itself. The Board of Adjustments did see that there was a variance in place and in order for this, so it was voted unanimously in favor of a variance to the 12-foot and further design specs of that road. So at this point, the homeowners are asking that the city take the existing private ingress-egress drive and convert it and approve it as a city right-of-way to be maintained in the future by the City of Southaven.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion?
Just a motion to reflect City Code 2137-3. That's for the minutes. That way noted in minutes.
You got Andrea here now? Okay. Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Hoots,
Yes.
Alderman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher,
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler,
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries on item 1.
Item number 2 is a request for subdivision approval for Cherry Tree South Phase 3C. It's going to be on the north side of Star Landing Road, west of Getwell. Property consists of 3.45 acres with lots ranging in size from 6,800 to 20,000 plus square feet. There are 13 lots in this area. It's part of the master plan for Cherry Tree South that is compliant with that. The one thing we did ask them to do per 911 discussions was change one of the street names to lessen the confusion with directional additions to the name of north, south, east, and west. They have complied with that. With that being said, it was voted unanimously in favor of by the Planning Commission, and we recommend approval.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend we approve item number 2 on the planning agenda as planned.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Hoots,
Yes.
Alderman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher,
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler,
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Our final application is a request for design review approval for a dental office to be located on lot 27 of Silo Square Commercial Subdivision. It's going to be on the west side of Getwell Road. It's going to be on the north side of Wildflower Lane, which is going to be down there by the actual silo on site. I would show you on screen, but it's not there, but it's a beautiful two-story office with Southern vernacular design. We had no comments regarding the design submitted for the building elevations. There was some adjustments made to the landscaping and some adjustments made to the overall footprint of the site, which the applicants met with us after the meeting and are making those as we speak. It is compliant with the overall design for Silo Square and has been approved by the developer who controls design as well on his side. With those changes being submitted that you have in your report, staff recommended approval. It was voted unanimously in favor by the planning commission.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that you approve item number 3 on the planning agenda as presented tonight. Thank you.
We have a motion on item 3 by Alderman Flores, a second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Hoots,
Yes.
Alderman Payne,
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher,
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler, Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our mayor's report. I'm going to spend most of the evening talking about the COVID-19 update and the governor's executive order yesterday. Before I do that, just a little quick update for everyone. Obviously, construction is deemed as essential through all this mess. And that's good that our park projects have been underway. Just to update the board, Greenbrook Indoor Training Facility has been complete for the most part. It's ready to be used. That's been done for about 14 days now. The Snowden Grove pedestrian trail, the 10-foot multi-use trail there, it does have its final layer of surfacing. It is paved now. They're still doing some grassing, putting some sod down. And there's some ADA ramps that are being added as well, but it's within days of being done. It's an awesome project. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I know that we've worked on this for a lot of years. We received MPO funding. Whitney and Dan Cordell helped us with, getting all that submitted to MPO. We got funding. So it's probably been 4 years ago when we submitted that. And it's always nice when after that many years you can look at something on the ground and say, hey, we're not just talking about this anymore. People are actually walking on it as we speak. So it's really, really nice. So I encourage everybody to go check that out when you can. The Springfest pavement project, obviously we didn't have Springfest this year. We're looking at possibly having, some other competitions there. I don't know if it'll be a dual sanction event. Don't know yet. We're just looking into that. But the pavement project is done, and as y'all know, it has power supply for every booth there for the cooking teams. And it's going to be landscaped. That's not done yet, but the lighting is up, the pavement is done, so it's almost done, and that'll be super nice too. That's another project that City of Southaven talked about way before me. That certainly wasn't my idea. That's something that's been a long time coming, so real excited to make that happen as well. Soccer is underway. They're doing a large amount of drainage infrastructure first, so that's what they're doing now. But that is moving now that the weather's better. The park's maintenance shop is projected to be done in early June. If you drive by there, it's just west of the tennis complex, and it's going to give our team much more room. It's going to be it's a nice facility. It's got them backed up away, from that high-profile corner where they were at Snowden Lane and May Boulevard. So it's going to be a good thing for the city too. So it'll also help us preserve our equipment better, as we'll have more stuff that's under a roof as opposed to the way it has been just out in a parking lot. So those things are all going. And then obviously developments, they had challenges too with labor and such, but things are going well in the city. So other than COVID-19, things are going great in the city. So let's talk about the bad stuff. So just to give everybody an update, last week the governor, by executive order, changed the shelter in place to what he calls a safer at home. He made some adjustments to that. That went into effect and is still in effect until Monday, May 11 at 8 a.m. Yesterday, he came out with an amendment to that. In Executive Order 1478, he amended that order starting effective Thursday at 8 a.m. And basically, the two main things that he changed, he did allow restaurant dining rooms to open with a 50% seating capacity for their customers, many safe social distancing requirements, maximum 6 person per table, 6 feet social distancing at all times when possible. Bar areas are prohibited unless they serve food. There's no live music, and there's mandatory facial coverings for servers, as well as a very, very detailed hygiene and health evaluation list of measures. In addition to that, he did expand the size of the allowed gatherings outdoors for outdoor recreational activities, which also will include team sports. He did, that max is 20 people in any gathering. He did expand on that with other questions and indicate that his intent with that is to allow team sports, other group activities outside, but he made that clear that that's not to include any kind of sports tournament of any kind. So obviously in Southaven, we know how developed and how large our Parks and Recreation Department is, so we were anxious to find out some information about that. We did not get that. I have been in contact with the governor's office throughout the weekend, and also yesterday did speak with one of his doctor's advisors last night to talk about the tournaments, and basically they still expressed some concern about having a mid-May tournament. So we've adjusted our parks plan according to that, based on the data that we have now and the guidance we've had from the governor's office. We felt like it was okay now to go ahead and start setting some specific dates for our parks operations. So the main thing that I know many of our citizens were worried about is the recreational sports leagues. We're worried that that may be canceled entirely this year. And I'm here to report to you, unless something unusual happens, the way trends are going now, we will have our recreational baseball and softball. Those guys and girls will start practice on Monday, May 18 at Snow Grove Park and Greenbrook Parks. They will be allowed to use the game fields for practice since there's no games going on at that time. We will have a full season. We're going to start the season on June 1 and we'll complete the season by the end of July. There will be no state tournaments this year for recreational baseball and softball, and the Dizzy Dean World Series that the city has hosted for many years in July has already been canceled. Competitive baseball and softball tournaments will begin at least by Friday, May 29th. I've tried over and over to explain that these tournaments take a large degree of planning. This is not some small get-together where you decide on a Thursday that you're going to get some teams out there. This is something that requires a large amount of planning, and so I've just pleaded with the governor, please understand that, please give us some direction there. So we don't know about the May 22nd tournaments. I've not put that in the announcement that went out. We're still hoping that we may have a tournament in both baseball and softball on May 22nd, but we don't know that for sure, but we are counting on starting on May 29th. Indoor training at the Bank Plus Sports Center and our new beautiful Greenbrook facility that I mentioned earlier will be open on Monday, May 18th. Soccer practice begins on Saturday, May 16th. All the games will be played on Saturdays this year, starting on May the 30th. Volleyball will not occur with it being indoors. It's a little more risky event. It's not going to occur until after June 1. Tennis and golf are now open, but no tournaments or group activities until Friday, May 29th. The playgrounds and Forever Young senior activities will remain suspended until Monday, June 1. And with all the events, even when they open, we're going to do this cautiously. There'll be strict social distancing requirements at all facilities, and preferably a 6-foot distance between all persons. Obviously, a degree of common sense has to be used with that. In sporting competitions, the players at times do have to get closer than 6 feet apart. I want to say that, first of all, that I recognize just from what I've been going through for the last 2 months, and at a much different degree, I recognize that Governor Reeves is working. I mean, he's working. He understands the issues. So I commend him for all his hard work. I commend him for listening to the mayors. I can tell you that he has listened to me. He has listened to other mayors in this state, and he's made some changes. Some of the things that we talked to him about, he has implemented those changes. So what he did yesterday, I think, is a step in the right direction, but I will be very wide open and straightforward with everyone. It's not enough. I believe that it's time to do more. I will continue to plead with him and get all of our businesses open and get more of our activities open so we can come back. We do have a plan that's been in place since April 17th. The governor has not given us the latitude to implement our own plan, so we're basing everything that is going on with restrictions in the city at this time is the governor's order. That's not the City of Southaven, it's not the board, it's not me. We're under his authority at this point, and I can tell you that I've asked for that to be released. I've asked for the governor to release us from that and let us make the decisions in our city again, because as I said on April 17th, I'm very confident that we can bring our city back, both economically with our personal lives, gradually, very cautiously, and very effectively. I want to get into something that I've not gotten into through this whole thing, and the reason, I'll be, again, very straightforward with you. I'll tell you things that no other politician will ever tell you, I promise you. I did not want to get into talking about statistics early on. The main thing is I'm a statistics guy. Some of you may know I'm a career insurance person. I make my living on underwriting and understanding statistics, the law of large numbers. The reason I didn't want to get into statistics early is you don't have that law of large numbers yet. To have law of large numbers to be accurate, you have to have a large enough pool to adequately and accurately predict the risk. So, for example, the people in this room, an insurance company can tell you, they can't tell you which one of you, but if you put 10 people in a room, they can't tell you which one's going to have a heart attack in the next 5 years. But if you put a group this size in the room, they can tell you to the person how many people are going to have a heart attack. That's called the law of large numbers. So the reason I get into that detail is to let you know the statistics I'm about to tell you. We've been compiling these for 55 days so we can get that law of large numbers going. So I'm about to get into some numbers that we've not talked about before. Basically, in mid-March, I think I speak for everyone, the things that we were hearing around the globe, things that we saw in Italy and Spain and in New York, we were terrified. You know, I didn't know. I was watching this virus long before it got to America, much less getting to Mississippi and Southaven. But when all that information came out, March the 11th was the day that President Trump declared a national emergency. We had no idea what to expect in Southaven and DeSoto County. We're terrified. So we listened to every expert. We did what everyone recommended that we do to keep our people safe, because that is our number one priority. So we did that, and I'm happy to tell you that our people made tremendous sacrifices. I mean, the things that we've done are things that no one's ever done in their lifetime. We did what all the experts told us to do, and we truly did flatten the curve. You know, that was the number one goal in the world. We were told that don't let your healthcare facilities get overrun. That did not happen in Southaven. We all made the sacrifices to keep that from happening. But since it's been 55 days since President Trump declared that emergency, we now have our own data. We're not working off data in Italy and Spain. We're working off data that we have really in the Memphis Metro and DeSoto County and Southaven. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Now, there's been enough data to have that law of large numbers where we can get an accurate feel of exactly what this is and what kind of risk this is to our community. As of today, May 5th, we've had 308 COVID-19 positive cases, and that equates to 0.17 of 1% of our population in DeSoto County, which is approximately 185,000 people. Our fatality rate is 0.002. That's 2 1,000ths of 1% of that 185,000 people. Shelby County, Tennessee's numbers are very similar. Shelby County, Tennessee, it's my understanding that there's about 900, I think the last census showed 937,000 people. They've had 53 deaths. So if you do the math on that, that gives you 0.003 of 1%. So all the things that you hear, well, you're next to Memphis, you know, Memphis is this, Southaven's this, the numbers don't lie, okay? Shelby County and DeSoto County are almost identical with their loss experience with this virus. Our COVID-19 hospitalization rate in Southaven, not New York, not Italy, not Spain, in Southaven has decreased 83% since April the 1st. I've been tracking this every day. I have all that data. It's gone down 83%. Not on one day has the capacity ever been challenged at our hospital. So where does that leave us? And I want to listen to you, and I want to talk some facts with you. I want to remind everybody that we're truly not out of the woods yet. This virus is obviously very serious. I'm not trying to make light of that. Losing one life is too many, and that's why we take public safety as the #1 priority. But we now have our own experience and data, and we realize that the things that happen in other parts of the world just simply didn't happen here. You know, the threats that we were afraid of, we've had enough time now and enough data, that's not happened here. So what we've learned is that now we're starting to have other health risks. I'm not getting into economic risks yet, so don't accuse me like some do of loving the dollar more than life. That's not true. Our other health insurance risks are now starting to outweigh the risk of the virus, just health risks. That's not mentioning the damage that we've done, to our economy. But the bottom line of my message today, and that I've communicated with the governor of Mississippi and everyone else, looking at our own data, looking at the numbers that don't lie, we cannot continue to be paralyzed by fear and let the national, state, and local economies be destroyed. It's time that we come back. We got to get out of our bunker and fight. I use that as an example. When March came, we were all scared. We got in the bunker. I mean, that's what we did. We jumped in that bunker to let the storm go by and to let the fight, find out what kind of fight we're in. But it's time now to crawl out of that bunker and fight. I mean, we got to get our lives back. We got to get our economy back. We got to get all of our business, not some. We got to get all of our businesses, churches, other organizations, and individual citizens. We got to get their lives back. We got to get government out of the way and let people get back to their lives. It's time right now. So I'm almost done. I'm going to wrap up, but I want to continue on. Not trying to be dramatic, but this is just a message that everyone needs to hear. With all due respect to all of the doctors and scientists in our world, we know that we have some of the best doctors and scientists in the world in the United States. We have great ones in Mississippi and we have great ones in Southaven. But with all due respect, their role is to be an advisor. And what it appears to me, it appears that in the state of Mississippi that these doctors are now making policy decisions for our state. And with all due respect, it's time for the doctors to go back to their role as an advisor. And it's time for elected officials to step up and start making policy decisions for our state and for our counties and our cities. And so I'm telling you that tonight, that it's about leadership, and we have got to give more information to our citizens. We've got to communicate a longer range plan, knowing 4 days out. And again, I've said this to the governor, I've talked to him and his staff about this. We've got to give people hope. We've got to know more than just what's going to happen 4 days from now. I would assume I'm about to hear that some of the people in this audience, that one day now makes a big difference. With all the drastic measures that have been taken, businesses are hanging on by a thread. Families are having problems at home. People they're at the end of their twine. It's frayed. They're ready to move on with some hope. So that's what this message is about tonight. Just quickly before I close up, I do have a message to the elected officials in our state, and that's every elected official. When we have a crisis like this, it's not the time for political games, finger pointing, and fighting. Never is it acceptable to circulate misinformation, especially at a time like this for political purposes. It's time to come together and solve problems for the people that entrusted us to do that. And you have my commitment in Southaven that I've done that since day one, and I'll continue to do that. I will continue to be in the governor's ear and everyone else to get us through this crisis so we can move back to our normal lives again. And to the people of Southaven, I'll close by just saying again, you've made tremendous sacrifices. I'm proud of the people of Southaven. When I talked to the doctors last night and kept sharing these statistics with them that I've shared with you today, they continue to come back and say, y'all done a good job. Y'all done the right things in DeSoto County and Southaven. And we have. So I thank our people for that. We made tremendous sacrifices and showed some extreme toughness and resilience. And I want to encourage you too. I want to tell you that a lot of times in life it's darkest before the dawn. I'm telling you, I know y'all had enough. I know that everybody's had enough of this, but we're on the brink of a great recovery, I believe, and I believe that we'll come back strong, not only personally, but our economy as well. So I just encourage everyone tonight to hang in there. Let's continue to be smart, but let's claim our lives back. So with that being said, that's my message tonight. Are there any questions about my discussions from the board, about just anything in general?
Mr. Mayor, this is Texas. Do you have any idea when we might be able to see our barbershops, salons, and tattoo barbers back open? Do you have any ideas where that might happen?
That's a good question. My plan has them open right now as we speak. If we were not under the governor's orders, salons, barbershops, and gyms would be open right now. If he lifted that right now, I would be asking for a motion right now to open salons, barbershops, and gyms right now, and any kind of salon. To answer your question, I do believe, like I said earlier, I believe that the governor is listening. I've made that clear to him and his staff when I talked to them Saturday and Sunday. I told them that restaurants need to be open, and I told them that salons, gyms, and barbershops needed to be open as well. So I really believe that there's discussion going on as we speak about that, and we've not gotten the word, but I'm hopeful that between now and Monday that will happen. Thank you. Yes, sir. In our description of that, we have tattoo shops named. The tattoo shops are I can't speak for the governor, but in our grouping, we do have tattoo shops, tattoo parlors listed as salons as well.
That's what I thought.
And the bottom line with that is, again, like I said, I don't know how more clear to make it. It's time for all to have a chance. And I was talking to one of our other aldermen earlier today, and I shared with him through all this and listened to so many people through this. One person said this to me, and it stuck with me. It was one of the strongest statements that I've heard from one of my citizens throughout this, and it was a business owner, and it was a salon, and their statement was, can we have a chance? Can we have a chance to open our business like the others with the same requirements? We know how to run our business. We can have social distancing. We can do extra hygiene. We can limit the crowds that come in there, but give us a chance. I mean, why are you giving a chance to? I mean, the grocery stores were open, Lowe's is open, and now you got restaurants open. You got so many different things open. Well, what's different about the salon? Why can't they have a chance? Why can our salons and barbershops and everyone else have a chance? Y'all of you, I know some of you are salon owners. I see your faces. You've been watching the same thing I've been watching for 55 days. You get this. Lord knows there's nothing else on TV. We watch this every night. You get it. I mean, you know what you've got to do. You know your business better than the governor does or better than I do. It's time that we let you open. And I'm telling you right now, I'm on your team. I'm pulling that train. I'm going to do everything I can do to get you back open. Thank you. Hang on just a second. Let me see if anybody else on the board. Then what we'll do is move into the citizens agenda, and you'll be first, okay? So is there any other questions about that from the board? Thank you. I appreciate that, Alderman Wheeler. So I can tell you, you can hear your board members. Your board members are behind you. They, like I said in my statement earlier, we did what we had to do back in March, but it's time now. It's time that we move on with our lives, and your board of aldermen are behind you. I'm behind you, and I believe we're going to see some results soon. Okay, if there's no other questions from the board, we're going to move on to our citizens agenda. And if you would like, you can just, for social distancing, you can stay there, or if you would like to come up to the podium, whatever you prefer.
I just want to ask you, because one thing you promised me when you became mayor is that you would always look out for us. And the question I have is that as a salon owner, despite this going on with the lieutenant governor and the governor reads, you can tell it all on the air. Who's going to accommodate us for what we're going through financially? these owners are not giving us a break. They're wanting their money, even if it's just next month. I was blessed to be able to pay my mortgage and all of that for April and May, but I have no other income coming in. So will you make sure you speak up to get some money directly to us?
I will, and I'll update you. I've been on conference calls with all the mayors in the state, with the governor, and I'm not going to get into all that tonight because I'm actually kind of ashamed of what's going on with our governor and our legislature fighting. That's kind of what I was talking about. It's time that you quit fighting and come help the small business owners. And I can tell you that both of them, I do think, have the same goal. I think that they recognize that salon owners and small business needs these monies that came from the CARES Act and the Coronavirus Relief Fund. So the money is there. The money has already been deposited in a state of Mississippi account from the federal government. So there's $1.25 billion that's there. So a large part of that money are things that can be allocated in a hurry. And the governor, I've heard him say on these calls that he recognizes that too. So it's his goal to get money to you as quick as possible. I don't know exactly how they're going to do that. It's my understanding that there is going to be a special legislative session tomorrow afternoon. I would encourage all of y'all to watch that. And you'll see the facts. Instead of reading what's being said in the paper, you can go and listen to that yourself and see what everyone says. But the encouragement that I would give you is that the state legislature and the governor both do recognize that small business needs relief, and I think it's coming pretty soon.
I'm gonna be okay. I'm just hurting. I sit here and I cry because to see Memphis open, and I can't service my clients who's losing their hair because it's time for their chemical service. They gotta go there and get their hair done now. It's just not fair.
It's not, and Saturday morning, I just couldn't take it anymore, so I had to get up really, really early and start typing a letter. So I did, and I'll just share with you since you asked that. I put in that letter that with Memphis and Shelby County opening, that I was fearful that it was going to make our businesses in DeSoto County at a competitive disadvantage to Shelby County and the state of Tennessee. And that's not the message we want to send, and I know the governor doesn't want to send that message. You know, we've made a lot of strides in Mississippi to make ourselves more economically attractive, but something even like that, to me, sends the wrong message. You're letting Tennessee and Memphis and Shelby County open before we do, and your clients that have been waiting so long, they're not going to wait on you anymore. If they can drive to Memphis and Shelby County, they're going. And let's just say, and I kind of know a little bit about your business because I'm a small business owner too. I know my business, if I don't give my customers what they want before noon, they'll ditch me in a heartbeat. And so I know that some of them may go there, and hey, that maybe they like the person that gave them the service, and maybe they don't come back to you. You know, that's the risk that you take. And so I do understand that, and I did communicate that with the governor, and I honestly do believe he understands that. So the floor is, we are in the citizens agenda, so anyone that wants to speak, you can come forward or speak from your seat, whichever you prefer. Would you pull that down a little bit so I can hear you?
Yes, sir. This is our livelihood, and I understand you are trying to work for us to get this thing going. But I'm interested in what our Constitution says in Article 5. It says, in short, it says, and I quote, "We will not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." Some of us are losing our properties because we can't work, and we are desperate. We're desperate to go back to work. And I mean, it's a very stressful time for us financially. And I don't know if anyone, I mean, I don't understand how the Constitution doesn't hold. I understand we have a virus going on, but I don't understand how this can't somehow help us. Because we're still under the Constitution, I believe.
Certainly. And I'll just tell you what I know. I've had, our city attorney here will know that I've also done a lot of research during this because we've been faced with decisions we've never had to make. So we did go back and what took place in March, you know, when the drastic measures were taken, the Constitution does allow governments to, and the Supreme Court has backed that, it does allow governments to take unusual, like restrict certain liberties of people when there is a danger to the public safety or the general welfare of the entire community or country. And so it is constitutional for a government to be able to do that. but I think it makes it clear that it's temporary in nature. And so I think the key point that you make tonight is due process. What are we basing that decision on now? I think in March, with all the unknowns, I think that the government's, it was a fair thing for them to make that decision. But I think you bring up a great point tonight. What are we basing that on now? What is the due process now? Nick, can you add something to that, or?
Pretty well said. Those are questions I
0.0001 doesn't.
I mean, the numbers don't, again, forgive me for being I'm a statistics guy. I know the numbers don't lie. I wish my ERA had been a little bit lower, but the numbers don't lie. You know, that's what it is. I mean, you know, get your calculator out on your phone. You can do it yourself. I mean, the numbers don't lie. I don't see the justification in this ongoing. So I'm on your team. I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm on your team.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I have one thing I want to add.
Yes.
What if the data show for you all to even, it's like systematic discrimination against our industry? What does the numbers show that we as an industry is causing COVID to spread any faster than a person that's at parties that's back there cooking beside one another? Why are we, it's like we're just systematically being discriminated against? And I love you, I really do. But at this point, do we need to come together and do a lawsuit against the state of Mississippi to, if they won't listen to you?
I don't think it's time for anything. I have seen on the news that there are some states in our country that has happened. I know that there was someone in, there was a city in California that I think did that about the beaches, didn't it? Yeah, so that is a possibility. I would just encourage you, kind of what I said earlier, let's I think the governor's listened to us. I think that we're getting our point across. I just think that, we sit tight for a few more days. If you can hang on for a few more days, I really believe that by Monday, I think that we're going to get some relief on this. I believe that. The governor's not told me that, but I really believe that. And but as far as like, why are you being, you said
Why was
discriminated
our
against?
industry?
Well, and that goes back to my comment about the doctors and the scientists earlier. What they say about that is that you're touching, like that you're physically touching someone, and that you're coming within 6 feet with your patrons, so that's why they view that as a more risky thing. But it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. You guys know your business. I mean, you've been watching this. You can put a mask on. You can have special hygiene things with your chairs. You can limit your crowds. So I'm not trying to like, I'm just being straightforward with you. I agree with you. I believe, and I've thought about this a lot. I mean, for hours and hours. I really believe that you're no different than anybody else. I think that you can. I think that you have to do certain things that other businesses don't do because you are, engaging with your patron. But I think that you can do that safely. I do.
Oh, no, listen, you did understand, y'all make sure you put on the record, I do know that you support us. I'm just asking on another level because it seemed like this was just systematically just us. I could never, I prayed about it, I still couldn't get it to why we're just target. It just couldn't.
No, I understand that, and I appreciate your kind comments too. I will add to that just real quickly that you can look, and even the scientists, even highly respected, seasoned physicians have had question marks about all this. And I'm not trying to be, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to disrespect any of them, because from day one I started listening to everybody too. I'm like, hey, talk to me, doctors. What is this going to do here? But even many of them have been wrong. So I'm just telling you what they say. That's why they say the salons and barbershops and tattoo parlors are more dangerous. But
We're cleaner than most businesses.
because I guess naturally you're used to having to have hygiene.
We have to sanitize.
Yeah.
We have to go in front of Mississippi State Boards of proper sanitization and all of that. We have to test out in that, and that's what I'm not understanding. Is,
Yeah.
dog grooming places can be open still and all of that. Like, how does a dog come before a human? You know, we're trained in infectious diseases. We are trained in all this. We go to school for this.
Yeah.
We have license for this. You know,
Leave you to talk to Rick.
we're struggling.
Well, I am talking to him, but
He doesn't have to put it.
well, and I would encourage you, you know, if you're a citizen of Mississippi. He's your governor. I mean, yeah.
Actually mailed a letter and my attorney's getting with me this week.
Yeah. And can we get a photo? I'm just curious. Everyone that's here that has an interest in salons, barbershops, tattoo parlors, gyms, would you raise your hand? And keep it up for just a second. So that's
Oh, and nail shops.
okay.
There's a lot of inspiration around here.
Can we get a photo? Seriously, can we get a photo? Or let me see if I can do that with my phone. Seriously, I want people to know that you're here because you care.
We could stand up and,
Make
Yeah.
sure you
take a
see it.
picture.
Would you stand?
Yeah, we stand up, yeah. Take a picture.
I took a picture 4 minutes ago, I don't know why y'all was standing.
And I'd like to say, Darren, thank you for your response towards everything, man. It means a lot towards us and everything, and man, we love it, man. We just want to get back to it and get back going and get back to, cutting hair and getting people in and out our business and everything like that. We can actually have some type of structure where people could come in and they schedule their appointments and they get out. You know what I mean? We can have that structure and we keep on rolling just like that. One person at a time, keep it moving.
Thank you for saying that, Chris. I appreciate that. And again, I know I'm speaking for my board too. It's not just me. My board is behind you guys too. Let me ask y'all something. Chris made me think of something. Is there any kind of professional, do y'all have a professional association with salons? And is there any kind of professional, like a collective bargaining organization that maybe could speak on your behalf?
I'm in the Professional Beauty Association, but it's like a big association, but I can't find one just down here.
Do you know, Nick, is there anyone in Mississippi?
State Board.
Cosmetology?
State Board of Cosmetology, they can speak for us.
Okay, there you go.
But they are in big help.
I don't think you can get on there right now.
Okay. Well, I just thought that maybe, some type of collective bargaining, with an organization that just reaching out. But again, I will say this, I really do, I'm not just telling you that, I think that the governor is listening. I really am hopeful that within the next few days that we're going to hear some positive news. And if not, I promise you, I'll go to bat for you. I promise I will.
I just really understand why is Cosmoprof and Sally's and everything like that is open, and they're giving out the equipment to us, and we can't use it really. Barbers, we work hand in hand with each other, and I really don't understand why they're still open and given to the public, and we cannot actually cut hair, do hair, nothing like that. That's
People can't.
What'd you say, Carl?
All the unlicensed people are still doing their job.
Yeah.
While they can't.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
it don't make sense at all.
But you're going to
Yeah.
get crucified if you're ready.
And that's the case on this as well. I think it's unfair that all this money is out here and we can't get any of it. All this stimulus money that's out here, everybody else
Yeah.
making it. The Koreans are making all this money with drive-by. Even when you shut them down, they still sold products. And we can't make anything. It's just,
Yeah.
that's not right.
No, all of you make great points.
Yes.
We didn't get a stimulus or unemployment.
No.
or we didn't-
No.
Did a few years for
Yeah, I think that, the CRF money tomorrow, that's why I would encourage all of you to go listen to that, because they will be talking about that tomorrow. And then I know it's frustrating. I mean, so many people have told me they've called even with unemployment, trying to call and you can't even get anybody on the phone. I think our state, seriously, with all respect to my state, I think we need a wake-up call. I mean, we can't even answer the phone for our citizens, and And what about online? They're not online options? I mean, we just weren't prepared for something like this. You know?
Well, you don't even know how to process a self-employed person's information to give them benefits, is what I think. The people that actually work don't know how to process, because this is the first time our industry has ever been able to file anything.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just not even possible.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that it can be, but it's not limited to people. And I mean, I have 5 women, I have shops, and I have one in South since '93. I have 5 women that are sole providers for their families.
Yeah.
They've not made $1 since the 3rd of last month.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just a crying shame.
Yeah.
And we, you know, there's very few occupations that you do hands-on. And it's not just a person in your chair, you've got a relationship with those individuals. They are like family to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never, and I don't think any of my employees would ever have someone come in without taking all precautions to not harm that individual. No more than I think my people would come in and sit in my chair if they've been out exposed and not wearing masks or gloves or doing their part as a citizen to try to combat this whole disease. You know, I don't get it. We're doing all we can. I mean, we're cleaning, going by appointments, masks, everything. And I don't think one of my clients would come in if they thought they had been exposed because they're staying safe just like I am.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'm sure a lot of your clients are, you know, not just the people that work with you, but a lot of your clients are long-term clients too. You develop a personal friendship with them too, and you care about them, they care about
That's
you.
what I'm saying. 40 years, 35 years, people that I've done. And they would never come to me if they had not been safe. I know they wouldn't.
Yeah.
No more than I would expose them. I would not, I don't pump gas, I don't go in the store unless I have to, and I'm protected.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to hurt anybody when I get to go back to work. If I get to go back to work, you know, I mean, my landlord doesn't give me a break.
Oh, no.
None.
Yeah.
And I've been in his business since I was 14.
Yeah. I understand.
No break.
Well
And I
said.
appreciate that you are understanding.
Oh, yeah.
Going back for us.
Well, thank you for saying that, and we want to be able to give you good news soon. We want that to happen. Yes, sir.
On the downside of that, it really goes against it, it doesn't happen. What's the blowback of saying y'all come together as DeSoto County and say, we're through with this, we're gonna do what we wanna do, we're gonna let our people open up and run their business how they want to. Since you say, claim you have the faith in these people, they can run their businesses in a clean and orderly manner. And what's stopping y'all as our representatives from letting us open up and do our business?
Well, you get into a civics discussion there. I mean, basically, you know, we are a temporary order from the governor is a temporary law. And so, you know, we all swear that we'll uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States. Pardon?
You also swore to protect us.
Certainly, but I'm just answering his question too. No, I agree. So we swore that we would uphold the laws of the state of Mississippi and the United States. And so it's my understanding, we have a city attorney here, Nick. Something like that would be, I don't know any way that that's not violating that.
We wouldn't have the authority, the local, under state law, we don't have the governor's executive order proclamation overrules anything the city does. So I'm not saying agree or disagree, I'm just saying that's the state law. And so the question would be, you know, enforce it, well, I guess the governor could then enforce it, however the governor thinks to enforce it. But as it stands right now, the governor's, or not as it stands right now, under state law, the governor's executive order trumps anything the city can do. In fact, under his executive order right now, the only thing a city can do is be more restrictive. It can't be less restrictive. So a city, if he were to open, the only option we have is if he were to open and everything up, the city could be more restrictive, but the city couldn't be
Does that
less
not
restrictive.
seem kind of backwards to you?
I don't, just the
That
law.
you can do one thing, but you can't do the other?
What's that?
That you can do one thing, but you can't do the other? I mean, I just feel, like, I'm not even a barber, that ain't got nothing to do with it. My girlfriend here, she ain't worked in 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure this out for her. I'm here as a voice because I ain't afraid to speak my mind.
Yeah.
No, we welcome that, and yeah, I don't blame you a bit. I understand
Local
you.
law enforcement, they're gonna be your only, like, that's the only obstacle you got. These people worried about getting their licenses taken and getting arrested for the shit. Tell your local law enforcement to leave them alone and let them open up.
I know they need haircuts. too.
Yeah.
They need haircuts and.
They have to keep clean, they have to have a clean, just, I don't know the word I'm looking for. They have to be clean, shaven, short hair, if they can't come to scrubby.
Yeah.
Legally, I can't advise them to break the law.
I understand, I'm just.
Well, and those are, what you're saying is, we're to a point that none of us have ever faced this before. And I'm not saying that to whip out on you, I'm just saying, I'm trying to answer any question I can with the authority that I have, but I don't have the authority to tell the governor what to do. I mean, I can explain the damage that's being done to his state in Southaven, and like Carl said, I do represent you. I'm the mayor, you put me here to represent you, and I will always represent you. I will go to bat for you, that's my job, and I have been doing that, and I will continue to be doing that. I just don't know, like, getting past that, as Nick said, I don't, it's kind of getting above my authority. But I'm hopeful, again, that we don't get to that, because what a shame in America that surely people are going to understand this is not who we are in America, and that, we got to let people, the government's got to get out of people's way and let them make a living again. I think that's a very fair ask. Yes, sir, Chris.
Who determines what's essential and non-essential?
The way it was presented to me, that list, when the first civil emergency ordinances came out, that list was compiled with a framework from the United States Department of Homeland Security. So they set the list. Obviously, that can. It's my assumption that the governor has the authority to adjust that, right, Nick? But I don't. Like, he made it clear in all his orders. Like Nick said earlier, we can do things that are more stringent, but we couldn't go anything less stringent than what the governor's order was.
Gotcha.
And so his order was, and that's a great question, because I know all of y'all had the same question. Well, how can grocery stores be packed to the gills, but then other businesses can't even open? And throughout the whole thing, it made it clear if it was deemed essential, we couldn't touch that. We couldn't do anything with that.
This is not about, I want to bring something to your attention that happened today from your office. When I called about this meeting, I was told that we were not to attend, that we would have to do a virtual, that a link would be sent out that you could listen to your conversation. And I found out that by state law, we couldn't be prohibited from coming here.
Right.
So when I talked to your secretary, she corrected it and told me, yes, we were welcome. So I just thought that you should know that.
Who told you that?
I didn't get to document her name when I called earlier. I hate I did because I normally document, but that's bad to come from your office that we couldn't come, and that was always wrong information.
Right, and just so you know, and I know everybody does it with all the different orders and everything that's come out, everybody hadn't read anything. From day one, I did make that clear that any kind of meeting that was governed by public meeting laws is deemed essential. So none of the rules apply to that. So I have communicated that. I'm not sure who would have said that, because I know Christy, as you stated, did clarify. My office, Christy does understand that there's no one's being restricted from coming to a public meeting. But I will check on that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Well, again, I thank all of you for coming. I'm sorry what you're experiencing, and I'm just asking you to hang in there for a few more days. And I wish I could give you better news tonight. Hopefully better news is quickly around the corner. So we'll move on past the citizens agenda, and next on our agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this date.
Okay. We got a motion by Alderman Brooks, a second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman Payne. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Wheeler.
Alderman Wheeler.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Nothing this evening, so we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill adjustment document presented on this date. Second.
I'm sorry, who made the second?
William.
Okay, I'm sorry. We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda are two claims dockets. Is there a motion to approve docket one?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve claims docket number 1 in the amount of $2,757,199.65, including domain tax. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. That's Kelly.
That was Alderman Hoots.
Oh, okay, sorry. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries on docket one. Is there a motion to approve docket two?
Mr. Mayor, move to approve claims docket number 2 in the amount of $15,945.50. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
Make that motion.
So moved. Second.
We got a motion by Alderman Gallagher. I didn't hear the second, I'm sorry.
Second.
Got a second by Alderman Hoots. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is litigation and claims involving city infrastructure and police and economic development. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So,
Got a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Flores. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session. We're going to do, I think we can do it differently tonight. We're going to go, and then we have the conference room behind us finished, so we're going to go back there. So Chris, Wilson, Nick, Alderman